Nostradamus, the enigmatic French seer, has always been a source of fascination and debate. His cryptic predictions, shrouded in mystery, have captured humanity's imagination for centuries, often aligning eerily with pivotal moments in history. In 2024, as the world faces unprecedented turbulence, his prophecies are once again under the spotlight, especially concerning the life of Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States. Could Nostradamus's enigmatic verses hold deeper insights into the uncertain future we're navigating? As global events unfold in chaos, these predictions feel more relevant than ever. From the ominous warnings about the death of a great man to hints of conflict and pestilence across Europe, Nostradamus seems to have left behind clues that demand our attention. Before diving into these chilling prophecies and their potential implications for Trump and the rest of the world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing explorations into history's greatest mysteries. Let's unravel the secrets together. Nostradamus, the enigmatic 16th-century seer, left behind a legacy of mysterious quatrains that continue to intrigue, inspire, and terrify. Among his writings, one particular prophecy has drawn attention for its apparent connections to political upheaval and violence. The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt, an evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition. Another falls at night time. Conflict at Reims, London, and pestilence in Tuscany. This cryptic verse has been the subject of endless debate, but its relevance took on a new dimension in recent years. The words, "great man," have been interpreted by many as referring to powerful figures who find themselves entangled in fate's cruel grip. In 2024, the world watched in shock as former U.S. President Donald Trump survived not one but two assassination attempts in quick succession. These events have reignited speculation about Nostradamus's prediction and its eerie alignment with modern times. The notion of a great man brings immediate associations with Trump's political identity. His campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," has become a defining symbol of his leadership, resonating strongly with his supporters. For detractors, the phrase represents division. But for his base, it signifies strength, patriotism, and resilience. Could Nostradamus have foreseen the dangers facing such a polarizing figure? The quatrain's first line, "struck down in the day by a thunderbolt," evokes imagery of a sudden, violent event, one that mirrors the circumstances of the first attempt on Trump's life. On July 13, 2024, during a rally in Pennsylvania, gunfire erupted, leaving Trump wounded but alive. Secret Service agents acted swiftly to secure the scene, but the dramatic nature of the attack left the nation reeling. This act of violence, carried out in broad daylight, shocked even Trump's most ardent critics. The prophecy's second line, "an evil deed foretold by the bearer of a petition," has led to further speculation. Some interpret the petition as a metaphor for political movements or ideologies opposing Trump's influence. The polarization of American society, marked by fierce clashes over policy and identity, creates an atmosphere ripe for such interpretations. Could the bearer be a symbolic representation of those seeking to challenge the former president's vision for the country? The second attempt on Trump's life, occurring just 2 months later, adds another layer to the mystery. This incident, taking place on a golf course in Florida, was markedly different in execution but no less chilling. The would-be assassin, hiding in the shadows, was intercepted before carrying out their plan. Some point to Nostradamus's line, "Another falls at nighttime," as a reference to this concealed, stealthy attempt. While the attack did not occur at night, The imagery of secrecy and subterfuge aligns with the circumstances. The phrase, great man, itself is open to interpretation. Historically, Nostradamus's quatrains have been linked to figures as varied as Napoleon, Churchill, and even Kennedy. These leaders, though vastly different in their ideals and actions, share a common thread: their influence over history and the violent events that marked their lives. For Trump, a man whose presidency was defined by controversy and resilience, this label seems both fitting and ominous. Yet, Nostradamus's words do not merely predict violence, they also hint at deeper, more universal truths about leadership, power, and destiny. The events surrounding Trump's brush with death have sparked debates about the fragility of democracy and the vulnerabilities of even the most protected individuals. Beyond the immediate implications of the prophecy, there is a sense of foreboding in its final lines: conflict at Reims, London, and pestilence in Tuscany. These references to European turmoil suggest that the events in America are part of a broader, interconnected narrative. Could Nostradamus have been alluding to a cascade of crises, triggered by violence against a great man? For Trump and his supporters, the assassination attempts serve as both a warning and a rallying cry. They see him as a figure who, despite facing relentless opposition, continues to rise above adversity. For others, these incidents are a stark reminder of the dangers of divisive politics and the fragility of peace. Nostradamus's quatrains, by their very nature, resist definitive interpretation. They force us to grapple with ambiguity, inviting us to find meaning in their cryptic lines. Whether you view them as predictions or poetic musings, the parallels between his words and the events of 2024 are difficult to ignore. As we delve deeper into these connections, one question looms large: is the prophecy unfolding before our eyes? Or are we merely projecting modern events onto the writings of a long-dead seer? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain: the story of Nostradamus and the great man continues to captivate and challenge us, reminding us of the timeless interplay between fate, power, and the human condition. The world watched in horror on July 13, 2024, as the unthinkable unfolded in the heart of Pennsylvania. A rally that began with triumphant speeches and roaring crowds descended into chaos when a gunman, hidden among the sea of supporters, opened fire. The target, former President Donald Trump. For many, the image of Trump being rushed off stage by the Secret Service was surreal. The larger-than-life figure, known for his brash confidence and unrelenting energy, was suddenly vulnerable. The sound of gunshots, followed by panicked screams, reverberated across the rally grounds. Within moments, America found itself staring into the abyss of what could have been one of the darkest days in its history. The attack was swift, but so was the response. Secret Service agents, trained for such scenarios, acted with precision and bravery, shielding Trump with their own bodies. They managed to usher him to safety while subduing the assailant. Despite their efforts, Trump sustained a gunshot wound to his shoulder, a detail that would dominate headlines for weeks. A shaken nation. The news spread like wildfire. Television networks interrupted programming. Social media platforms exploded with updates. And hashtags like #TrumpAttack and #NationInShock trended worldwide. The reaction was immediate and visceral. Supporters of Trump rallied to his side, flooding his social media accounts with prayers and messages of solidarity. For them, this was not just an attack on a man but an assault on the ideals he represented. Critics, too, condemned the violence. No matter how polarizing Trump's rhetoric had been, There was a near-universal agreement that violence was not the answer. Political figures across the spectrum issued statements, calling for unity and urging calm in the face of such a heinous act. Even Trump's most vocal opponents acknowledged the gravity of the moment, recognizing that the attack transcended partisan lines. Yet, the nation remained deeply divided. While some viewed the incident as a rallying point for unity, others saw it as a symptom of the toxic political climate that had festered for years. Heated debates erupted on cable news and social media, with many questioning whether the attack was the inevitable result of escalating tensions. The gunman's motive. In the days following the attack, the identity of the gunman came to light. A 32-year-old man, identified as a former military contractor, was arrested at the scene. Early reports suggested he acted alone, driven by a personal vendetta rather than allegiance to any organized group. However, his online footprint painted a different picture. Investigators uncovered a trail of social media posts filled with inflammatory rhetoric, conspiracy theories, and open disdain for Trump. The gunman had been vocal about his belief that Trump's policies and influence were a danger to the nation. Some posts even hinted at his intentions, though they were cryptic enough to evade detection. This revelation reignited debates about the role of online platforms in fueling violence. Critics argued that tech companies had failed to curb the spread of extremist content, while others questioned the government's ability to identify and prevent threats. For many, the attack was a stark reminder of the dangers posed by unchecked radicalization in the digital age. Trump's response. Despite his injury, Trump's response was characteristically defiant. From his hospital bed, he posted a video message thanking his supporters and vowing to continue his fight for America. "They tried to silence us, but they failed," he declared, his voice firm despite his evident fatigue. "We will not be intimidated. We will make America great again." The message galvanized his base, who saw it as proof of Trump's resilience and determination. Within hours, rallies in support of Trump began cropping up across the country, with thousands of people gathering to pray for his recovery and denounce the attack. For his supporters, Trump's survival was nothing short of miraculous, a testament to his strength and divine favor. However, his detractors criticized the tone of his response, accusing him of using the incident to further polarize the nation. Some argued that his rhetoric, even in the wake of such violence, was fueling division rather than fostering healing. Security concerns. The attack also sparked a re-evaluation of security measures for political figures. While Trump was no longer president, his high profile and continued influence made him a prime target. The Secret Service faced scrutiny over how the gunman had managed to get so close, despite the stringent protocols in place. In response, law enforcement agencies ramped up security measures at political events, deploying more officers, increasing surveillance, and tightening access controls. These changes, while necessary, raised concerns about the balance between security and civil liberties. Critics warned that excessive measures could stifle public engagement and create an atmosphere of fear. A turning point in American politics. The first assassination attempt on Donald Trump marked a pivotal moment in American history. It underscored the deep divisions within the nation and highlighted the dangers of an increasingly polarized political landscape. For many, it served as a wake-up call, a reminder that words and actions have consequences, and that the path forward requires more than just rhetoric. As the nation grappled with the aftermath, questions about unity, leadership, and accountability came to the forefront. Could America heal from such a traumatic event? And what role would Trump play in shaping the nation's future, now that he had faced death and lived to tell the tale? For Trump supporters, the attack only solidified their belief in his strength and purpose. For his critics, it was a stark reminder of the stakes involved in a deeply divided nation. And for the world, it was a moment that revealed the fragility of democracy and the enduring power of resilience in the face of adversity. The second attempt, shadows on the golf course. The tranquil serenity of the Briarwood Golf Club in Florida was shattered on a balmy October afternoon in 2024. Former President Donald Trump, surrounded by his usual entourage of security and close associates, was enjoying a game of golf, a well-documented pastime that served as both relaxation and reflection for the larger-than-life figure. But what started as a routine day would soon spiral into chaos as shadows of danger crept onto the greens. The setting, a scene of vulnerability. Golf, with its sprawling open landscapes and relatively relaxed atmosphere, presents unique security challenges. Unlike the controlled environment of a rally or a public event, the expanse of a golf course offers little in the way of physical barriers. Trump, dressed in his signature red cap and white polo shirt, was deep in conversation with a longtime friend near the 14th hole when the second assassination attempt unfolded. As the former president lined up a putt, witnesses later recounted a faint mechanical buzzing noise in the distance. Moments later, a small drone emerged from the tree line, its trajectory aimed directly at the group. Initially dismissed as a curious piece of technology or an overeager fan's camera, the situation escalated when the drone rapidly descended, releasing a small explosive device just yards away from Trump's position. Chaos on the greens. The explosion wasn't lethal, but it was close enough to send shockwaves through the group. Fragments of turf, dirt, and debris sprayed the area as Secret Service agents sprang into action, forming a protective human shield around Trump. The former president was quickly whisked away in a waiting golf cart, flanked by agents wielding tactical equipment. The scene that followed was one of pandemonium. Players on adjacent holes froze in disbelief, while others scrambled for cover. Trump's security team, armed and prepared, secured the area with military precision, sweeping for additional threats and ushering bystanders to safety. Within minutes, law enforcement helicopters were circling overhead, their searchlights illuminating the rolling hills of the golf course. The sound of sirens pierced the air as local police and federal agents descended on the scene, establishing a perimeter and initiating an investigation. Uncovering the plot. The second assassination attempt immediately raised alarm bells within intelligence circles. Unlike the first attempt, which involved a lone gunman acting on personal motivations, this attack bore the hallmarks of a coordinated operation. The use of a drone, a device that could be remotely piloted and weaponized, indicated a level of sophistication that suggested external planning and significant resources. Investigators worked around the clock, eventually tracing the drone's origin to an abandoned warehouse just miles from the golf course. Inside, they discovered a makeshift command center equipped with high-end surveillance equipment and explosive materials. The fingerprints of a larger conspiracy began to emerge, with ties to an underground network of political extremists who had been emboldened by the polarized political climate. Further analysis revealed chilling details. The drone had been modified with advanced targeting systems and carried an explosive payload specifically designed to maximize harm within a localized radius. Forensic evidence suggested that the attackers had studied Trump's movements for weeks, identifying vulnerabilities in his routine and exploiting the relative openness of the golf course. A nation on edge. The second attack sent shockwaves across the nation, amplifying the fear and uncertainty that had lingered since the first assassination attempt. While Trump's supporters rallied behind him with renewed fervor, the broader public grappled with the implications of a sitting political figure being targeted twice in such a short span. News outlets aired wall-to-wall coverage of the incident, dissecting every detail and speculating on the motives and identities of the perpetrators. Pundits debated whether the attack represented an isolated act of extremism or part of a larger trend of violence against public figures. Social media platforms once again became battlegrounds for competing narratives, with hashtags like #DroneAttack and #ProtectTrump dominating the discourse. For many Americans, the attack was a tipping point. The repeated targeting of Trump highlighted the dangers of a fractured political landscape where ideological divides had escalated into outright hostility. Politicians from both sides of the aisle called for unity, but their words often rang hollow in the face of mounting distrust and animosity. Trump's defiance. True to form, Trump refused to let the attack deter him. In the days following the incident, he addressed his supporters from Mar-a-Lago, his tone equal parts defiant and triumphant. "They tried again," he declared, his voice echoing with characteristic bravado. "But we're still standing. America is still standing." His remarks were met with thunderous applause, reinforcing his image as a resilient figure who thrived in the face of adversity. For Trump and his base, the repeated attempts on his life only solidified his status as a symbol of resistance against a system they believed was corrupt and broken. However, critics accused Trump of exploiting the attacks for political gain, using them to deepen divisions and rally his supporters against perceived enemies. The optics of his defiance, while inspiring to some, alienated others who felt that a moment of national crisis required empathy and unity rather than partisan rhetoric. Strengthening security. The attack prompted a complete overhaul of security protocols for Trump and other high-profile figures. The Secret Service expanded its use of counter-drone technology, deploying advanced systems capable of detecting and neutralizing airborne threats. Public events were scrutinized more heavily than ever before, with increased surveillance and restricted access becoming the norm. Despite these measures, the challenge of ensuring Trump's safety remained daunting. His status as a polarizing figure, coupled with his penchant for large public gatherings, made him an attractive target for those seeking to make a statement. The golf course attack underscored the reality that no location was entirely safe, forcing security teams to adapt to an evolving landscape of threats. Reflections on resilience. The second assassination attempt marked another turning point in Trump's post-presidential journey. It was a stark reminder of the risks faced by public figures in an era defined by political unrest and technological innovation. For Trump's supporters, his survival was a testament to his strength and destiny, a narrative that only deepened their devotion for the nation. However, the attack posed uncomfortable questions. Could the cycle of violence and division be broken? What role did rhetoric and leadership play in shaping the country's future? And how could a deeply divided America find a path forward in the shadow of such profound challenges? As the sun set over the Briarwood Golf Club that fateful day, one thing was clear: the shadows of division had grown darker. But the resolve to persevere burned brighter than ever. Whether that resolve would lead to healing or further fragmentation remained to be seen. In the cryptic writings of Nostradamus, the verses hinting at upheaval in Europe have long captivated historians, futurists, and conspiracy theorists alike. As events in the modern era unfold, these quatrains take on new meaning, especially in the context of the continent's ongoing challenges. From economic instability to political fracturing, the foreboding lines of Nostradamus's works seem eerily prophetic, painting a picture of Europe caught in a whirlwind of chaos. The quatrains and their interpretation. Nostradamus's quatrains are intentionally vague, allowing for multiple interpretations. Among the most referenced regarding European turmoil is this haunting verse: "In the house of God, great discord shall arise. The leader's crown shall fall to cries. The eagle and the crescent in eternal strife. Blood will flow and fracture life. Many scholars associate this quatrain with Europe's struggles in the modern age. The house of God could symbolize the fractured unity of European nations. Perhaps referring to the European Union, a coalition formed to bring peace and prosperity but increasingly plagued by disagreements over policies, sovereignty, and identity. The imagery of the eagle and the crescent suggests the ongoing cultural and geopolitical tensions between the West and the Islamic world, which have played a significant role in Europe's socio-political landscape. Economic crises, the house divided. Europe has faced repeated economic crises over the past 2 decades. From the financial meltdown of 2008 to the COVID-19 pandemic's devastating impact on global markets. As inflation rises and energy prices skyrocket due to geopolitical tensions, most notably the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, the continent's financial stability hangs by a thread. Nostradamus's warnings about discord and the fall of leadership resonate with the current wave of populist movements sweeping across Europe. Traditional political parties are losing ground to fringe groups, with leaders struggling to address the concerns of increasingly polarized populations. In countries like France, Italy, and Hungary, protests over economic inequality, immigration policies, and government overreach have destabilized once secure administrations. The crown falling to cries evokes the growing distrust of European leaders, who are often accused of failing to act decisively in the face of mounting crises. The leadership vacuum creates fertile ground for opportunists, further complicating efforts to maintain unity across the continent. Cultural tensions and the migration crisis. Perhaps one of the most divisive issues in modern Europe is the ongoing migration crisis, which continues to strain relationships between member states. Nostradamus's reference to the eagle and the crescent in eternal strife could symbolize the cultural and religious tensions exacerbated by the influx of migrants from the Middle East and Africa. These migrations, often driven by war, poverty, and climate change, have led to political clashes over border policies and the distribution of refugees. In countries like Germany and Sweden, there is both a sense of humanitarian duty and a backlash from far-right groups advocating stricter immigration controls. This dichotomy reflects a broader European struggle to reconcile values of inclusivity with the practical challenges of integration. Nostradamus's prophecy of fractured life seems to echo the social divisions that have emerged from these challenges. Geopolitical instability, war and its shadows. The ongoing war in Ukraine has plunged Europe into one of its most precarious moments since World War II. Nostradamus's grim allusions to blood flowing align disturbingly with the devastation caused by the conflict, which has not only led to tragic loss of life but also reignited fears of a broader war on European soil. The quatrains also suggest a shift in alliances, with new power dynamics taking shape. Russia's actions have disrupted decades of relative stability, prompting NATO to bolster its presence in Eastern Europe and pushing historically neutral countries like Finland and Sweden to seek membership in the alliance. This escalation has heightened tensions, with Nostradamus's vision of discord eerily capturing the reality of a continent on edge. Environmental and energy crises, the breaking point. As Europe grapples with political and cultural challenges, another layer of turmoil looms, the environmental crisis. Severe droughts, record-breaking heat waves, and devastating floods have become the new norm, testing the continent's resilience. Nostradamus's writings often mention natural disasters as harbingers of great change, and Europe's struggles to adapt to climate change could be seen as a fulfillment of these predictions. The energy crisis, exacerbated by the war in Ukraine, has forced European nations to rethink their reliance on fossil fuels and their dependency on foreign energy supplies. Rolling blackouts, skyrocketing electricity bills, and public discontent have added fuel to the fire of discontent, creating further divisions within and between nations. The fragmentation of the European Union. Perhaps the most significant consequence of Europe's turmoil is the growing fragmentation of the European Union. Once envisioned as a beacon of unity, the EU now faces existential threats from internal dissent. Brexit marked the first major blow, and the aftermath continues to reverberate, encouraging Eurosceptic voices across the continent. Countries like Poland and Hungary, already at odds with Brussels over issues of judicial independence and democratic norms, are testing the limits of EU solidarity. Nostradamus's vision of a house of God in discord aptly describes the current state of the Union. With increasing numbers of citizens questioning the benefits of membership and member states resisting centralized control, the future of the EU appears more uncertain than ever. The road ahead, lessons from Nostradamus. While Nostradamus's predictions are often shrouded in mystery, their enduring appeal lies in their ability to resonate across centuries. His warnings about division, conflict, and upheaval hold a mirror to Europe's current struggles, offering insights into the challenges that lie ahead. Whether seen as prophecy or poetic observation, Nostradamus's quatrains remind us that history often moves in cycles, and periods of chaos are often followed by renewal. For Europe, the question remains, can the continent navigate these turbulent times and emerge stronger? Or will it succumb to the fractures that threaten its unity? As the shadows of Nostradamus's predictions loom large, the lessons of the past may hold the key to a brighter future. Let me know if you'd like me to continue refining or expanding this section further. In the annals of history, few figures have polarized public opinion as deeply as Donald J. Trump. Whether hailed as a disruptor of the status quo or criticized as a symbol of political chaos, Trump's journey has been marked by extraordinary resilience. Much like the mythical phoenix that rises from its ashes, Trump's ability to rebound from controversies, political setbacks, and personal attacks is a modern testament to his tenacity. Nostradamus's cryptic quatrains, often linked to major upheavals and dramatic comebacks, might even find a reflection in the story of this enigmatic leader. The phoenix metaphor, a leader reborn. Throughout his career, Trump has faced countless moments that seemed poised to end his political trajectory. From the fallout of the 2020 election to his multiple legal challenges and public controversies, these obstacles would have sidelined most politicians. Yet, Trump's narrative defies conventional political wisdom. The phoenix, burning in flames, only to rise anew, is an apt metaphor for his ability to turn adversity into opportunity. Nostradamus's writings often allude to figures who endure great tribulations before re-emerging stronger. One quatrain reads, "The great one shall fall, yet rise again. Through the flames of fury, his time will wane. The people shall follow, though doubters stay. His fire shall burn into another day." This imagery aligns eerily with Trump's political journey. Following his loss in 2020, many predicted his retreat into irrelevance. Instead, he maintained a firm grip on his base, influencing the Republican Party and preparing for a potential political comeback. His relentless energy and refusal to concede defeat in the public eye have cemented his status as a uniquely enduring figure in modern American politics. Resilience amid legal and political challenges. Few leaders have faced the level of scrutiny and legal challenges that Trump has endured. From impeachment trials to ongoing investigations, Trump's ability to navigate these storms while maintaining a loyal following is nothing short of remarkable. Where others might falter under the weight of such opposition, Trump thrives, using every challenge as a rallying cry to energize his supporters. Nostradamus's reference to flames of fury could symbolize the intense criticism and legal battles Trump has faced. Yet, these flames have not consumed him. Instead, they have added to the narrative of a man who thrives under pressure. His critics see these challenges as evidence of unfitness for leadership, while his supporters view them as proof of his strength in the face of a deeply entrenched establishment. The role of media in Trump's resilience. A significant factor in Trump's ability to rise above challenges is his mastery of the media. From his early days as a business mogul to his presidency, Trump has demonstrated an uncanny ability to dominate the news cycle. Whether through social media, television appearances, or public rallies, he commands attention, ensuring that his narrative remains at the forefront of public discourse. In a sense, Trump's media strategy mirrors the mythical phoenix, which is reborn in a blaze of light and heat. His controversial statements and actions often spark outrage, but they also keep him relevant, ensuring that his voice remains central in political debates. Nostradamus's quatrain about the people following, "Though doubters stay," captures the essence of this phenomenon, highlighting how Trump's ability to engage his audience sustains his influence. The Trump phenomenon, a movement, not just a man. One of the most striking aspects of Trump's resilience is that it extends beyond the man himself. Trumpism, as a political movement, has become a force to be reckoned with in American politics. Rooted in populism, nationalism, and a rejection of traditional political norms, Trumpism continues to shape the Republican Party and American political discourse. Nostradamus's quatrains often hint at leaders who inspire fervent loyalty, creating movements that persist even in their absence. Trump's influence on his supporters, many of whom see him as a champion of their values, ensures that his impact will endure, regardless of whether he holds public office. The Phoenix metaphor, then, applies not only to Trump but also to the movement he has created, which continues to reshape the political landscape. A divisive legacy. While Trump's resilience is undeniable, his legacy remains deeply divisive. To his supporters, he is a leader who fights for the forgotten and challenges a corrupt system. To his critics, he is a polarizing figure whose rhetoric and policies have deepened divisions within the country. Nostradamus's writings often allude to figures who inspire both devotion and dissent, and Trump fits this archetype perfectly. The quatrain's mention of his fire burning into another day could symbolize the enduring nature of Trump's influence, whether he returns to the presidency or remains a behind-the-scenes force. His impact on American politics is likely to be felt for years to come. The question remains, will Trump's legacy be one of renewal and reinvention? Or will the flames that sustain him ultimately consume him? A new chapter in the Phoenix's journey. As Trump prepares for the next chapter in his life, whether as a candidate, a movement leader, or a cultural icon, the parallels to the Phoenix remain compelling. His story is one of reinvention, fueled by an unwavering belief in his ability to defy the odds. Nostradamus's cryptic predictions may not have been written with Trump in mind, but the enduring themes of struggle, renewal, and resilience resonate powerfully in his story. The modern-day Phoenix continues to rise, leaving behind a trail of controversy, admiration, and unanswered questions. What lies ahead for Trump and his movement remains uncertain. But one thing is clear, his resilience has already secured his place as one of the most fascinating figures in modern history. As Nostradamus might suggest, the story is far from over. Nostradamus's prophecies are often seen as a reflection of the cyclical nature of history. Time and again, humanity faces the same patterns of rise and fall, conflict and resolution. His words challenge us not only to look at the past but also to examine our present and future. If we take the time to understand the broader themes in his quatrains, we can see that they speak to the human condition itself, our resilience, our vulnerabilities, and the consequences of our actions. The recent events, from Trump's narrow escapes to Europe's social unrest, remind us of how fragile stability can be. In moments of crisis, it's easy to succumb to fear and chaos. But Nostradamus's prophecies also contain a message of hope, that in the face of adversity, we can emerge stronger. The key lies in our collective response. Will we allow ourselves to be divided by fear and uncertainty? Or will we come together to confront the challenges head-on? Take, for example, the theme of thunderbolts and falling at nighttime. These images of sudden danger and hidden threats symbolize the unpredictable nature of life, where we often face danger when we least expect it. Whether it's a political leader like Trump or a global crisis, we are reminded that nothing in life is guaranteed. The fragility of power, of systems, of lives. Nostradamus's words echo the reality that nothing lasts forever. Yet, in these moments of crisis, history teaches us that resilience is key. Moreover, his reference to pestilence in Tuscany is a stark reminder of how health crises have shaped human history. From the Black Plague to modern-day pandemics, diseases have played a significant role in altering the course of civilizations. Nostradamus's warning serves as a call to action, urging us to not only be vigilant but also proactive in addressing issues before they escalate. The fear that spreads faster than the disease itself, as we've seen in the recent outbreaks, can be as damaging as the illness itself. The emotional toll, the societal divides, it all underscores the importance of unity and collective action in times of crisis. Ultimately, Nostradamus's prophecies serve as both a reflection of our past and a cautionary tale for the future. His words urge us to look within and recognize the power we hold to shape our destiny. As we face the uncertainties of the modern world, political tensions, social unrest, and global health threats, we are reminded that we have the power to alter the course of history. Whether we're preparing for the challenges of 2025 or reflecting on those that have already unfolded, it's essential to remain vigilant, adaptable, and united in our efforts to build a better future. Let us not allow history to repeat itself in destructive ways. Instead, let's take these lessons and use them to forge a future defined by resilience, hope, and cooperation. Nostradamus may have predicted doom, but the future is still ours to shape. The question is, will we learn from history? Or will we let it repeat itself?